Hello again. Okay, so something I've thought about for many years now. This goes way back to when I was in high school. Education. And how would I do things differently? Because as I sat in class, I noticed some teachers I learned things better from others than others. And I go back, I will read a book on a subject that I supposedly learned about in school. Usually it's a history book. That's why I nearly said history there. But it could be another topic. And I will notice things I didn't notice. And it's like, is it just a better book, or is it I'm better interested in it, or the approach is different? That's making me more interested and making me learn better. So I'm going to be starting a series, if you will, on how I would reform history, or not history, education. Keep saying history because that one stands out sometimes. And this is just an introductory here. Some of the problems we're having, some of the problems people have in general when they talk about it. And then future ones, I'll be taking subject per subject because to go into any detail on subjects would take way too long if I did them all at once. So we look at our history or no education. Spoiler alert, I'm going to say history several times when I mean education here. And the big thing, do we blame the teachers? And a lot of people know you got to give teachers support. They need support. Other people are saying we're paying them to educate kids. Now here's the problem I have with this. College. Took differential calculus. Got C's in it. It was tough to understand. Next quarter took integral calculus. Now to understand integral calculus, you've got to understand differential calculus. Yet somehow I managed to get A's. How did this happen? Did I suddenly get smarter? Or did I have a better teacher? And the answer is B. I had a better teacher. So, yes, you can at times blame the teacher. But at the same time, there are some really good teachers who do deserve more support. Let's just spend more money. And that's pretty much my entire life. This is, again, didn't pay a lot of attention to politics, but of course, when I'm at school and I hear them talking about education, I paid a little more attention. And my entire life, we need to spend more money on education. We need to spend more money on education. We need to spend more money on education. And they always voted on the education bill, and things didn't get better. So just throwing money at the problem isn't going to solve it. Computers. I read an article recently about a school initiative where they got laptops into the classes, where all the students got a laptop computer, and grades went down. How does that happen? Computers are supposed to make you smart. Well, let's face it. A, we're back to the let's spend more money thing, which doesn't always work. And B, we just gave the kids a bunch of new distractions. In the old days where there was the teacher and a blackboard, yes, we could get distracted, but it was pretty obvious when we were distracted. Now everyone's got their laptop, and it's, we're supposedly following along when half of them are watching cat videos and the other half are playing solitaire. I exaggerate there. I don't know the exact statistics of solitaire to cat videos. But the point is, yes, we have given them a distraction. And we expect somehow for grades to improve or for them to learn more somehow. So computers isn't the answer. In fact, I knew graduate students who didn't know they They knew the equation for whatever they wanted to do. They didn't know what order to punch it into their calculators. Yes, graduate students. So, calculators is just a very simple computer. So giving them a computer, letting them, punch buttons to do things, if they don't really know the process, then they don't know which buttons to push necessarily, and well, they're not going to learn. So that's not the solution either. So what is the solution? I don't know. Like I said, I'm going to look at this class by class or subject by subject rather than trying to do it all at once, so maybe some better solutions will come up. I will say I rode the bus to work for many, many years, and it wasn't unusual for students on their way to class to ride the bus because that was the easiest way for them to get there. Maybe 10% of the students actually had textbooks with them when they got on. So my question is, are they not being assigned homework? Are they just not doing their homework? Is the homework, I don't know. It's, so again, the teacher can't force you to do your homework. They can only give you grades rather on how well you do it. So that's one problem, is are the students actually trying to learn? Which brings us to the parents. Are you paying attention to what your students are doing or what your children are doing? I know, if my grades dropped below a certain level while I was in school, grade school, high school, privileges got taken away until my grades went back up. So yeah, my parents paid attention. I owe my parents more for my education than I do for my school, because my school couldn't force me to learn. My parents could. So to some extent, we can blame the parents up to a point, but it's not all their fault. So yes, it is a very the overall educational problem we can go through a lot on and argue a lot on, and it's definitely outside of my pay range, by which I mean outside my area of expertise. I can only go with what I've observed on this. But we can go and look at the subjects individually and say, is there a better way we could have taught this? And this, as someone who was a student for a long time, and who did pay attention in class, and had my ups and downs, sometimes I learned better, sometimes I didn't learn as well. Why? And someone who likes to think things through and analyze what just happened there, I do have some ideas how we might be able to improve some of these things. Some of it is a matter of the kids shouldn't be taking the course. I know, for reasons unknown, you only needed 2 years of science to graduate our high school. However, everyone took 4. Why did they take 4? Because everyone took 4. Everyone took 4 years of a foreign language when you only needed 2. Because I only took 2. I read the guidebook. I said, hey, I only need 2. I can spend my time studying the stuff I need, the stuff I want to learn. I do like foreign languages, but odds of my using them, they weren't as important as, say, math or science. But I only needed 2 years, so I only took 2 years. Math, you only need 3 years, but everyone took more. That's understandable because when you go to college, you're gonna have to have some math background. English, you needed 4 of writing / literature / they had different things lumped into the English category. Again, I took performing arts as an English credit. No one else knew they could do it because no one else read the guidebook for the scheduling your classes. And so that's it. It's to some extent it is up to the students to actually study what they want or read the guidebooks. My point on saying this is, like I said, we had students. Everyone took 4 years of science when they didn't need to, but You had some people, they thought they had to be there, they didn't want to be there, so they ended up disrupting class. So part of the problem is the students themselves. And some of that, I mean, we could go to the guidance counselors and they could have told the student, look, you don't need this class. Although, again, it is sort of in the best interest of your future to have a wide range of experiences, studies. But again, guidance counselors didn't want to step in and tell students not to take classes or else they think they would be doing wrong, even though it would have possibly helped other students by getting rid of more distractions. So that is it for now. Like I said, I'm going to, this isn't going to be one video after another on education, but my next one will probably be about, I will pick a class and say how I would do it to try to improve it. And spoiler alert, most of my suggestions are going to be slow things down a bit. So stuff that we would have learned in 1 year, maybe a year and a half to 2 years, it's better to teach it as such. Give the children, a chance to absorb the stuff better, understand it better, before moving on to the next topic in the same subject. That's going to come up a lot in the future. Other than that, that's all I have to say. Have a nice day.